That's where they first learned about that interesting metabolism. And then they found that all succulents do it. Okay, the other thing that's happening in a succulent is that it's got a cuticle, a waxy, tough surface that's holding water, right? And that waxy surface is going to prevent this thing from ever drying. I mean, people say, well, why can't you just dry it, you know? Why do you have to prepare it? This thing will rot from the center before it dries. So in the cooking process, that's another thing we're doing. We're getting rid of the oxalic acid, but we're also destroying that succulent cuticle, that protective. It will like imagine the worst drought in the universe, but so it closes itself down. It closes those pores and contains its water, and it's not going to dry. But if you break down the cuticle with cooking, roasting or boiling, then you can preserve it forever. It's not only good for you internally, but you can preserve it. And we'll see on the table, we've got some dried ones, and it takes a long time to dry. If you decide that you're going to dry them, give it more than a week. We did a whole batch of them at the Desert Museum 1 week. Dried them, I turned them every day. I had them outside airing in a double screen box. And I put them in a glass jar, and 2 weeks later I looked and it was just covered all through the buds with mold. And I'm like, oh my God, because a jar of dried cholla buds represents so many person-hours of labor, you know. And so it was a real tragedy, but it was an object lesson that I'm passing on to you. Don't trust in the old drying.
Well, also you don't want to store them in a jar.
Yeah, to store them in paper is the way to go. Yeah.
Can you dry them in direct sun?
It's okay in direct sun, but it tends to harden it off and kind of seal it off. So shade is better. And the reason that those had not dried completely was because a couple of the days were cloudy days with a little bit higher humidity. And it just makes a difference. So make sure they're bone dry before you store them, as Meg says. You store them in paper, in baskets or whatever. Okay, so you've got the feel for how they are. And I'm going to put those